On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. With everything going on, with all the different little components that are happening right now, people are waking up. People are seeing what is going on. People are seeing what's going on in our cities. People are seeing what's going on with the violence, with the looting, with the shooting, with all the horrible things that are going on. People are waking up. We've had counter-protesters that have been walking Antifa backwards. We are winning this hands down, no question about it, and we're going to continue to do so. Now, over the next few number of months, things are going to get a little rocky. They're going to get a little crazy. Trump's kind of hinted already that, he might have to kind of chill, and I'm not exactly sure where he's at. I tried to do a little hunt down on him. He does acknowledge that we've got a meeting today. In fact, let's go ahead and start with this part while I'm on the subject. White House news conference today at 5:30 p.m. So that's Eastern time, so 2:30 p.m. on those of us on the West Coast. So this is going to happen today. Something's coming up. He's obviously plugging it. Should be interesting. He says enjoy, so I'm not sure what's going to be there. I'm not sure if he's going to be there. Earlier today, I got a text message, one of those like Amber Alert practice text messages, the emergency alert system on my phone, wondering if there's a tie-in with that. I don't know if other people out there had that experience. It happened to me this morning. Today is the 10th. Happened early. So a lot of things are happening or in the process, and people are waking up. They're starting to see it. And Trump is calling out a lot of stuff and really upsetting a lot of powerful people right now. And there's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes. Flynn, Barr, and Trump have pretty much all agreed, we are going forward with this. We are going to make this happen. I think Mnuchin, a number of these guys are on top of this. Now, again, a few things have happened. I don't have the image of it, but there was an explosion in Baltimore today, a gas leak in a residential area. That's kind of interesting. Again, it's just stuff that's going on. Chicago, we had a armed suspect that ended up getting in a shootout with the police. He did not die, but he was injured, and he was black. And so now we've got looting that's going on in Chicago. Chicago City, that's also about, this close to having the most, shootings ever. But we've got a great deal of just looting, just in general. Right. Robbing from our own cities is never, ever going to help us out, but we've got people running around carrying boxes of Nikes and everything else under the sun. There's just all sorts of different pictures. Yeah, obviously, a lot going on with the police in the background. I thought there was a little more excitement on that, but we've got people stealing stuff, breaking stuff. Again, Chicago is under the gun. What else is going on? Well, in New York, shootings in de Blasio's New York City are on track to surpass 2018 and 2019 combined, put together. Now, one thing that's really interesting that I kind of checked into, because I was curious. I thought of 4 mayors that seem to keep coming up in discussions that keep doing ridiculously crazy things. And I'm like, when's their re-election up? Is it up at this year? Or is this, are we in between? And oddly, de Blasio was elected in 2018. Governor Gavin Newsom in California elected 2018. Meg Whitmore in Michigan, or not Meg, whatever her name is out there in Michigan, 2018. Chicago, 2018. All these people, 2018. All these crazy mayors that are doing these crazy dictator type things have 2 more years to go, assuming, I guess, people are going to forget, or they thought they were going to be able to, in the midterm, do all this stuff. I wonder, honestly, how many of these cities might actually consider trying to get some of these people out of office early. We'll see how this all plays out. But again, people are waking up. 2018 and 2019, we had no COVID. We're combining those numbers of deaths. This is where we're at. And you want to defund the police? Really? Or is it just time to call out the fact that you've so poorly mismanaged your city that you don't actually have any money anymore to pay the police? Maybe that's part of the problem. And now you're not getting any magic money from Trump, so it's looking like you're going to have a hard time getting this fixed out. Now, who else keeps showing up? Obvious ways. Not just how she's showing up and how no one will challenge Pelosi, but what we're also seeing is how the few news companies that are trying to challenge her, she kind of slaps them down. And it's really interesting to watch this happen. And this is happening on the left mainstream media. People on the left are seeing Nancy Pelosi get away with this. And I tell you one thing I've learned about people on the left. They will devour their own in a heartbeat. They don't give a crap. So for some reason, if this lady on the left, who's the leader of the left, thinks she can get away with not answering questions, I'm pretty sure the left is going to have something to say about all that. But we've got a situation here where CBS's Stahl so impressed by how Pelosi swatted down her questions. I don't know how long these are, a minute and a half. Yeah, we'll go
But,
to it.
you know, her time is done. Maybe it's time for new blood, young blood. She has certainly shut all of that down.
She did, and you know what? Strangely, President Trump was the one who gave her that opportunity, because remember that meeting in the Oval Office, Major, I'm sure you do.
Yes.
And she stood up to him and walked out in that orange coat, and her image was changed on a dime. With the public, I think they knew how tough she was in Congress, but this was a moment that was transforming. And you know something, she is a very strong person, and stronger than I think we realized.
I can't take any more of that. But that being said, she's, again, these people just love her. And the way things are playing out, and the fact, yeah, you walked out, and you know what, Pelosi? You're not getting anything that you want right now. You're not getting any of the money from Trump. You're not getting anything. And what's happening is you're looking bad. So yeah, your cronies are speaking well of you, but you've actually got some others that you're fighting. Here's another one.
Legal rights of the whistleblower should prevail in this political setting over those of President Trump, who should ordinarily enjoy a right to confront his accuser.
Well, let me just say this. I'll say to you, Mr. Republican Talking Points, what I said to the President of the United States. When you talk about the whistleblower, you're coming into my wheelhouse. I have more experience and intelligence than anybody in the Congress, anybody's ever served. 25 years on the committee as top Democrat, ex officio, as speaker and leader. I was there when we wrote the whistleblower laws. The whistleblower is there to speak truth to power and have protection for doing that. And any retribution or harm coming to a whistleblower undermines our ability to hear truth about power. So I will defend the rights of the whistleblower vehemently.
But why should they prevail over the president's
Well, the president can come, if he has a case to make. Does he want to come speak? Does he want to present in writing or speak to the committee about his, what might be exculpatory for him? He has that right to do. But nobody, president is not above the law. President will be held accountable, and nobody should have the right to endanger whistleblowers. And that is the system that I will defend. And the American people understand that.
And it's just amazing to me how no one can question, whistleblowers, but it's only if it's a whistleblower that's coming out against Trump. Any of the whistleblowers that are coming out against the left are coming out against, no, we got to shut them down, stop that. So again, it's not two-sided. Thank God we've got the Senate right now, and the circus is no longer in the House, but now the Senate's actually doing its own investigations and finding out a lot of things. We've got fellow Pelosi's telling CBS not to ask her about GOP criticisms. You don't shout questions at Queen Pelosi from CNN. Matthew marvels Pelosi's finest hour when she rebuked reporter. Pelosi attacking reporter equals iconic moment. All these people are just kissing up to her. Pelosi yells at CNN's Tapper to calm down after he challenges her. Pelosi lectures MSNBC, you're too fair to Republicans. God forbid someone be fair to Republicans. And MSDNC, of all the networks, the quote, be fair to Republicans. Really? Oh, I'm going to hear this one just for the...
Madam Speaker, let me ask you if I can right now about police reform. Obviously a major issue as we see this wave of protests continuing across the country right now. You've echoed your Democratic colleagues who have said that the Republican bill is, in their words and in your words, unsalvageable. When you were speaking yesterday, you said that Republicans are, quote, trying to get away with murder, actually, the murder of George Floyd. Senate Republicans are demanding an apology for that statement. Will you apologize?
Absolutely, positively not. The fact is, people say, I think you, frankly, in the press have given them far too much credit for a bill that does nothing. They're saying, well, you have your bill, they have theirs. Yeah, our bill does something, theirs does nothing.
Is Tim Scott working in good faith, I guess?
I'm sorry? Well, we would hope
Is Tim Scott working in good faith? Is this a good starting point?
I'm talking about Mitch McConnell. I'm talking about Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell could open this up again and have an open Judiciary Committee consideration of a bill where they could come together and get something done. The reason we have overwhelming support across the country, young people, sports figures, big-time names in the people of color.
I can't stand listening to Democrats yammer on. First off, am I just the only one? But her, Biden, like, these guys can't string together a sentence. She talks from the back of her mouth. I don't know how she talks from the back of her mouth. It drives me insane. And then, I'm sorry, Pelosi, because I think you're the face of evil, so I'm going to make fun of your face for a moment. That's not nice of me. I don't have the best face in the world. But do her eyebrows just seriously go all the way, like, down to, like, well, what the heck is that? Is that like a weird form of sideburns that come from the eye? Anyway, it's not nice. If you don't have anything nice to say, I already said too much. Doesn't matter. So Pelosi is not playing the game properly, but people are coming down on her. She's starting to get stuff from the left even. People are waking up. One thing, I just thought this was more funny than anything, but Vaccine Choice Canada, it's a company, they sued Canadian government for bungling the coronavirus response. A different government that's somehow not run by Trump is getting sued for bungling the coronavirus pandemic as well. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm sure somehow they're blaming Trump, but somehow it's Trump's fault. But again, another government getting sued for bungling how they handled the virus. And that's what everyone keeps blaming Trump for. And it's like, you know what? We've got one expert saying one thing, and then another expert that's not part of the CDC says another thing, and those people get censored and shut down and yelled at and whatever. So why do we have different experts saying different stuff? There are other people that are also epidemiologists and all this different, all these ologists that can study all this junk. Why don't we listen to more than just one guy? I mean, Birx even seems like she disagrees with Fauci in some cases. Anyway, this stuff, again, is coming to a head. People are starting to question stuff. Now, interesting. I'm not going to say this word out loud, but you can see it if you can. If you can't, sorry. But there's a particular company that does video software platforms, and Twitter's banning them. You are not allowed to do any links. A guy named Tim Pool, who I actually kind of listen to, he's a good guy. But he actually is blocked every time he tries to share any of these posts with that particular channel on there. And it's happening to a number of other people. So again, the censorship thing is continuing. Do not think that's going to stop. And just understand that that's part of this game. We have our ways around it. We have our ways of doing things. And so keep working at it. And keep knowing that you can go to some of these locations and check out other videos that are sometimes a little different. So on this particular article, former NSA head says CIA fabricated evidence to push Russiagate conspiracy. Now, to me, the NSA and the CIA have always kind of been sort of against each other. And I know I'm not correct in saying this, but I do think there's a little sort of hidden side truth to it. The NSA was sort of kind of created, I think, to a degree, to kind of be another arm, because I think we learned a long time ago, Kennedy was certainly one of them, but Jackson, a number of different people have talked about the CIA. I don't remember when they were made, I think in the 50s. But basically saying that this group of people are just tied to some very deep and powerful people, and it gets into Majestic and all these crazy things. Don't want to get off down that rabbit hole. But again, it's very interesting that the NSA is coming out and basically saying, yeah, CIA is making stuff up. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. We had Brennan, and yeah, this shouldn't, right here, George W. Bush was, by the way, part of the CIA. His dad, Prescott Bush, financed both the Nazis and the Americans during the war. So again, they've got plenty of bad blood tied into this, but the CIA has been in the middle of a lot of bad stuff for forever, at least that I can tell. I mean, I don't know if they were ever good. They might have from day one been kind of the evil arm of our empire, but yeah, there's a lot of information, again, that's starting to come out around what was faked, what wasn't real, where they actually made stuff up. And again, we're talking intelligence, so to get anything out of these groups is pretty impressive in and of itself. Another thing that's kind of interesting, and we actually have her saying this, which brings a little cheer to me, but it's a very, very strong statement that Pelosi makes that I think without a doubt is about the most opposite thing she should say to a lot of people in our country right now, should alarm them. And I think she didn't realize, or probably does realize, and literally this just shows how in bed with China this woman really is. Let's check this out.
But the Chinese, what they said is China would prefer Joe Biden. Whether they do, that's their conclusion, that they would prefer Joe Biden. But the Chinese, what they said is China would prefer Joe Biden. Whether they do, that's their conclusion, that they would prefer Joe Biden. But the Chinese,
Can you just how hard it is for her to talk? I don't get what's going on. Her, Biden, all these people cannot talk. What is going on? Are their brains just shutting down? Is there a dimensional shift that's happening right now and all the evil is like starting to fade away? It's like in Back to the Future, right? When he's looking at the photo because his parents didn't kiss at the under the sea dance or whatever the hell, and his brother's disappearing. Like he's got to fix that. I feel like that's happening to these people. But that being said, supporting China. China wants Biden to win. That should freak everybody out. Anybody that's starting to wake up to the fact that China is not our best friend, maybe Russia's not either, maybe any number of these other countries aren't, but we're being spied on by China. They're stealing our intellectual property. They've been trying to take over the world, and they're trying to do all sorts of bad things to us. Way worse than it seems that Russia's doing, but let's include them in the same basket together. I'm fine with that. But these people are just like all cozy, snuggly in bed with the communist China party. Huh? What is going on in this crazy world? People are seeing this. People are talking about this. And finally, Lebanon, once again, we talked about that ginormous explosion that happened. Now, there is a discussion, saw it somewhere, it wasn't here, but supposedly the red smoke that was initially burning indicates that there was lithium, and I guess lithium is used in rocket fuel. So they feel like there's a pretty strong chance that this is tied to rockets, manufacturing of rockets. So the speculation that maybe for the Hezbollah they were making rockets and then shooting them into Israel, it's starting to look like that might very well be what was happening. Now, was there a bunch of old ammonium nitrate that happened to be there? Maybe. Was there a bunch of ammonium nitrate there because they were using that to manufacture rockets? Maybe, probably. Did somebody probably do something, Israel, maybe to blow that up? Yeah, maybe. But that all being said, Lebanon's prime minister is to step aside. They are having riots right now because the people are so upset with the government, with the fact they're not doing anything about this, with the fact that they basically had a small, low-grade equivalent of a nuclear explosion in their city that just leveled out for a couple miles. They want answers. And these guys don't have any answers. Well, so we're mad. We're looking into it. They're like, no, not good enough. So the people freaked out. So they're literally clearing the way for the third government in 1 year's time. Third government. Yeah, they're having some problems there. But again, when explosions are happening and you're having these kinds of problems, this is going to happen. So people, not just here in the United States, people are waking up all over the place right now. People are not believing what the general authority is telling them. People are realizing that the general authority has been lying to us for eons. And people are tired of it. So as we wake up, as friends of ours start to wake up, they're going to start asking questions. That's one of the ways you know they're going to do this. They're going to start asking you, so do you think, or do you think there's some truth to, right? And when they're there, be there for them. Offer them facts. Help them as much as you can because these are our family. These are our brethren. And as they awaken, they're going to be a little scared. They're going to be frustrated. They're going to be angry, just like all of us are. But as you kind of work through that and you start to realize, no, we're actually doing a lot better than people realize. The mainstream media is still that loud bullhorn that they've got, and they're screaming all sorts of stuff. But when you look at what's really happening, when you see how things are actually playing out, when you see that the violence in the cities is it's like in specific places. Very specific places is where it's allowed to happen, and it's not happening in others. People are starting to see and make connections. And that's what's going to help usher in this new world that all of us are playing a part in right now. I hope you guys can keep helping us out, keep supporting, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Just remember, where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.